everybody. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the final project that we're going to do in this class. We'll spend the rest of the class working on this final project, so I want to talk you through what that will look like. So you can find the final project in next week's block. And you click on this Google document and we'll send you to the final project document. You notice it's slightly different than the social remix, and then I have a table of contents for you, so you can go through, find the sections that you need to quickly when you want to refer to it later. So here's the thinking about the final project. For the social remix, you analyzed your own literacy practices or literacy moments. For this final project, you're going to analyze someone else's, one specific person or a specific group's literacy practice. Choose one literacy practice, that's plenty to do. So you're going to choose one, you're going to discuss it fully. You're going to use research that you find, scholarly research, and I have links here to talk to you about that. And you're going to use an interview. You should at least talk to the people that you're going to do about their literacy practice. And you will need at least 3 images of different aspects of their literacy practice. So 3 artifacts. It might be an image of a book or an image of some kind of digital literacy, whatever it is that you're talking about with your literacy practice. Remember, we're looking at new literacy, so it's not just a discussion of traditional print literacies, but it moves beyond that. It can include that, but that's not where it ends. So I have included a link here for what literacy practices means. So if you're still confused about that, there's a chapter from people who have coined that term and discussing what it means. Essentially, it's something that people do in terms of literacy over time, every day. It's the way they actually think about literacy. So in a nutshell, that's what it is. But I want you to have a resource for you if you want that. So what you're going to do is you're going to spend the first part, a small part of your project, doing a very thick description of your person or group, and you there provide any information that's relevant to their literacy practice that you're going to talk about. So the setting, who they are, in terms of literacy, all the things that you would need to know to understand what their literacy practice is. Then the bulk of your paper is going to be a really, really good discussion of what the literacy practice is that you're talking about, talking us through what it is, giving us examples, weaving in research, the interviews, your artifacts, so include your images in there. Be sure to cite everything. Also be sure that the person is okay with you using that as part of a project. So keep that in mind, especially if it's a minor. If it's someone under 18, then you need to also protect anonymity. You need to make them anonymous. So be sure to work on that. Take out any identifying markers or names or anything. Here I've included 2 sample project ideas, final project ideas for you to look over. For this final project, you'll have 2 options for the format of it. So everybody's going to do looking at someone else's literacy practice. Everyone's going to do research, including 3 articles or books that are scholarly. Everybody's going to have interviews, whatever. But to present it, to give us this information, you can choose one of 2 options. The first is a paper option, the traditional paper, 10 to 12 pages, where you talk about the literacy practice, you develop a detailed analysis of it, you include your scholarly articles, quote everything, cite everything, use 12-point font, double-spaced, put it in a Google document, all of those things where you're making an argument in the traditional way. Or you can do, for those of you who don't want to do a paper option, you can do a media project that has a written component to it. So with this, you would have the media, and that's where you do the really good description. You go through the literacy practice, all of the things that you would do in the written paper, you do in a media format, and then you have a 4 to 5 page written paper that accompanies that synthesizes your arguments, that includes your research. That's where you would put your research, your quotations, your different things like that. The interviews and the artifacts can go in your media. Your research probably makes sense that it would go in your written paper. so that you can cite it and reference it and everything. So that's two options for you. You can use any kind of media. You can create with any kind of format. You do not have to use the approved list, but no websites, Prezis, PowerPoint, Keynote, Google Slides, nothing like that is allowed. They just have not worked for my students in the past. It's hard for people to get in depth enough with that kind of media. So I'm going to just give you a heads up and just say that that's not an approved sort of media, but anything else is fine. Approve your media, have me approve your media and your person or group and literacy practice before you get started. That way you won't go off track and waste your time. So have everything approved through me first so we can talk through it, see what will work, what won't, before you get too far into the project. So here's the rubric. What I'm looking for is that you've done a really, really good job discussing the literacy practice, demonstrating the synthesis, that you've made sense of everything, that you are using outside readings, that you're understanding what new literacies is, and that you are working through all of these different concepts and applying them to an actual real life person or group's literacy practices. So that's what this rubric is essentially talking about here. I'm going to have an FAQ. I've added a couple of things here. I'll add to it as I get questions from you. So the first one I'm likely to get is, can we work in groups? And yes, you can have groups of 3 max. Approve it through me first. Each person responsible for working, you're going to turn in 1 project for the whole group, and also a description with that about what everyone did. I have here how you turn your final project in through As You Learn, and how you decide if a resource is scholarly or not. So you need to go out and find 3 different articles, books that are scholarly, that apply to your project. So that's one of the tasks of this assignment, is to do research. Since it's a master's level course, that's one of the requirements. So here I give you a bunch of links that help you to decide if something is scholarly or not. Keep in mind, blog posts, popular press, they're not scholarly. Don't even mess with them. If there's no references included, it's not scholarly. So just to give you a heads up on that. So basically, this assignment is to have you analyze somebody else's literacy practice, to go in depth, to do an interview, to use that kind of evidence, to have artifacts, to use that kind of evidence, and to do some research. So that's essentially what this assignment is, to show that you're understanding what new literacies are in a real life, real context, with research and with evidence. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, this is the first look at your final project assignment.